Welcome back to day 2 of the Syndicate Competitive League 5. You join myself, Xander Fina, the lead host of the best podcast in all of EVE Online history, Crossing Zebras. I have some very special guests joining me today. Some of you may have been expecting SCL5 to be joining us after his presenting work yesterday. We had a lot of complaints about Alex presenting yesterday. It was very disappointing. A lot of people very unhappy with his performance, so he's been relegated to commentator today, but he joins me in the studio right now. Alexiev, thanks for coming back.
It's good to be here. I'm glad that I got promoted and, you were brought in to replace me. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
I'll be calling the action on the front lines. You'll be here behind the desk.
We've got a pile of emails from very disappointed individuals, Alex, so I don't know. I guess we'll see. We also have two far more important guests joining us. First up, we have Elendar. Thanks very much for coming back, Elendar.
Hi, hello. Thank you very much. Looking forward to another day of fun matches and possibly finding out why on earth anyone would listen to an EVE podcast.
Wow. There we go.
Hey now.
I'll pick up on that one later. And we also have Dark Soldat joining us once again. Thanks very much, Soldat, for coming back on.
Hey, yo, son.
So we're here for day 2. The schedule is jam-packed. We're in for some very, very exciting fights tonight. It looks like it's going to be a bit of a long shift, a long hitch. We're all very excited though. But let's kind of recap yesterday. Elendar, what were the biggest moments for you yesterday? What matches really caught your interest? What surprised you? What excited you from yesterday's fights?
I've definitely seen the 3 strategies used. First time I've ever actually seen them used in combat. We didn't expect them to fare especially well against Marauder they're facing off against, but just about managed to pull it through, surviving with one of them at least to the end of the match, and actually pulling out a victory that no one but commentating expected to happen.
It was a very, very surprising one, that one. I don't think anybody expected it to play the way it played. And those Stratoses were absolutely supreme. I was very impressed with them.
Yeah, beautiful looking ships too.
The stunning looking ships, absolutely gorgeous design, absolutely stunning. Alexiev, what surprised you from yesterday's fight?
There were a lot of surprising moments. I think the one that sticks out the most is the Hero Marauder comeback in the Executive Otters versus something else match, which everybody I don't know what the commentators were doing because we were watching our own match, but everybody in the analyst desk was like, oh, this guy is done. They're going to pull this one out. And then all of a sudden, he remembered that he got a micro warp drive and managed to pull out an extreme comfort behind victory at like the last final minutes of the match. It's just face-smackingly awful piloting on both teams, but at the same time, it was very exciting. So I loved that match.
It was a great fight. Really, really enjoyed that one. The first teams up today, we have our Try the Verge and No Boundaries. Soldat, we have the bannings up for those. And for the first time, we have a triple Marauder ban. Were you expecting that?
Yeah, it's kind of obvious that it's pretty overpowered, aka the one Marauder that soloed an entire team. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, so Try have banned the Vargar and the Kronos, and No Boundaries have banned the Golem and the Ishtar. We're just seeing the teams land on grid at the moment. What are our first thoughts, Alex, on the team makeups and what it can mean for the fight itself, where they're landing on grid?
I'm looking at them here. I think it's going to be an interesting... I think it's going to be an interesting fight, but it might be a bit more one-sided than we may initially think here. It depends on how some of these ships are fitted with their utility high slots. Can either go very well or very poorly.
Elendar, what are you expecting from this fight? How do you expect it to play out?
I'm looking for another good grudge match. We often see Verge Rope pretty much of the teams, if I'm not mistaken. I think it looks like one team's taken a bit of a gamble here, bringing very, very heavy neutralizer looking setup, and the ships they're facing off against aren't using energy-based weapons, so might not work out as well for them as they'd hoped.
We're expecting both yourself, Elendar, and Alexiev to be moving over to the commentary booth for this one, aren't we?
Yeah,
Oh,
we are.
absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. Okay. We have a rather spiffing set of CCP developers are going to be joining us throughout the course of this evening's events, or this morning's events, indeed, if you're that side of the pond. Up tonight, we have CCP Loxy joining us to talk about his video work with CCP. After that, we're expecting to have CCP Paradox from Team Super Friends. CCP Nullarbor is going to be joining us later on in the evening to talk about the Dust Eve link and his work on that. And rounding things up, we're going to have CCP Etern, who's going to be talking about some community stuff. So a very, very interesting and dynamic group of CCP devs to talk to. We're still just waiting for this match to set up at the moment. We're just getting into position.
This is actually really interesting because the teams banned 3 Marauders, which, if we do the maths, 4 minus 3 still leaves 1 Marauder open, and only one team brought a Marauder.
And it looks like the team
Yeah.
that brought Marauder came expecting to counter exactly the same Marauder.
Yes. However, it doesn't appear that the Triverge have obliged them, so they may have wasted some points here, depending on what's going on with the high slots.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I mean, those nukes are going to be shutting down the hardeners pretty quickly on the enemy ship, so it's still going to be applying a lot of damage, but I wouldn't say it's looking too great for no boundaries here. Not impossible by any means, but it's going to be tricky.
I'm a
The
little
trifecta
concerned
does
actually
look like
about
the
their lack
stronger
of
fit.
DPS generally on that team.
I
This
don't
is
know.
just
You've
me.
got 3 drone bonus ships there and Marauder. That's a lot of damage there. So I still think they've got a reasonable chance, but it's going to be tricky for them here.
How much work is this gonna? How much work are we going to need to see on Marauders to balance them for this environment? I mean, Eve players are known for constantly shouting out OP all the time, but are they too powerful here? Are we going to have to see a nerf before they hit Tranquility, or are they okay as is?
I think in the Tranquility environment, where the world is a bit more open-ended, you're likely to fight more than 10 people at a time, more than one group of players at a time. I think they're going to be much more balanced than they are in this limited tournament environment. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're even perhaps disallowed from the Alliance tournament in general, because they are just really that strong against small groups.
Right, I believe we're about ready to start the next match, so me and Alex will be dropping down to the commentary booth now.
No problem at all. Okay, well, we're going to cut here and pass over to Ellender and Alex in the commentary team.